weekend for you in a couple of different areas. So talk about your race tonight, how you're looking for Cup, and how Kurt might look in that Nationwide car.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some good times with the Denny Hamlin Short Track Showdown. We're looking forward to another one here tonight, and special thanks to our new Kyle Busch Motorsports partner with AMF All Metal Fabricators from the Delaware area. They're on board with us and supporting us for this race tonight, and looking forward to having fun with our number 51 Camry and racing around there trying to get our third win in the Short Track Showdown. We won the first two, had a couple-year hiatus, but I let Denny have last year's. He hadn't won in first year at Richmond, so I figured I'd give it to him. But I was a little short on fuel, had fuel cell in the car backwards, so he beat us, and we'll look for redemption here tonight.
How about what's going on for Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, we've got, this is a really good track for us, and we've got some good cars, and we've had some good runs here in the past, so no reason to not expect the M&M's Camry to run up front with on Saturday night here. It's been a really great place for us. Qualifying's kind of been hit or miss, but, we look forward to the challenge of getting ourselves back in the running condition that we like to be in, and hopefully having a good run here Saturday night. But tomorrow night, Kurt running in the KBM Camry with Monster Energy. It's going to be fun to see that. Our second short track race of the year, we had a really good race going at Bristol. Unfortunately, had some problems on pit stops and kind of mired us back a little bit, and then got ourselves in trouble with a right front tire going down. So, we'll see what we can do here. Looking forward to Kurt and having him give us some good information for the car and trying to make our stuff that much better.
All right, again, we've got wireless mics for you. Ashley and Greg have them. We'll go ahead and start back here in the back with Matt, and then we'll go to Jeff Gluck and then Bob Pockris.
Kyle, Matt Lincoln with NBC 12 here in Richmond. How do you and Denny work together to have such success here at RIR?
This is a good place where it's one of the few places we run a real similar setup. So, we're able to talk a lot about this place and what the keys to our success have been here, whether I get in the corner a little bit deeper than he does, and he gets in a little shallow, but we both seem to exit the same and need the same sort of car setup in order to have good cars here in the past and be good over the long run. So that's been our key point, that we try to save our tires as much as we can and everything. So, it's an interesting race when it comes down to the two of us, because we both kind of know each other so well that we know what each other's doing. And, it was fun here last year. He kind of ran me down and was on my back bumper for a couple laps, and then I steadily moved away from him a little bit and was able to win the race. So we'll see if that happens again this year.
Jeff Gluck from SBNation.com. Kyle, by your standards, you're off a little bit this year. What's going on with you and your team right now? I mean, do you guys feel like you're on the cusp of a turnaround? And the other part of that is, do you feel like you're doing anything differently this year, or is it just the cars that you find are not quite to your liking this year?
I think that we have been a little bit off this year, and for why, I don't know. It's just kind of been a little bit of a struggle to find comfort in the cars and speed in the cars this year so far for me. We did run well at Phoenix. We led some laps there. We were fast. We were up front. We didn't keep up with the track on the final two pit stops, fell behind a little bit, still finished 6th or 7th, so it wasn't bad. Texas, Denny and I were racing side by side for finishing 11th and 12th. Last week, Denny started up front, stayed up front. I just could never get there. So, last year the 18 team I felt like was the better team. We had better cars. It seemed like we were finishing better week in and week out. The 11 and the 20 were kind of scratching their heads a little bit. This year it seems like the 11's doing a little bit better job at being able to show up to the racetrack ready to go and have speed in their cars, and the 18 and the 20 are now kind of scratching their heads a little bit. So, we're trying to turn it around, and this is a good place for us that we've run really well here in the past. So hoping that this weekend we can kind of redeem ourselves and run top 5 at least. The last 2 weeks, Texas and Kansas, we finished 11th and 10th, so that's not terrible. I mean, it's almost 2 top 10 finishes. So certainly we'd like to be better, leading laps, contending for wins, but we're not quite there yet.
You don't feel?
Personally, I don't feel like I'm doing anything differently. No, we're just trying to still communicate as best we can with Dave throughout practices and stuff, and get ourselves to where we have good handling race cars, good driving race cars to to then, you can try to get more out of the car. If you're comfortable in the car, you can drive it harder and make it do something wrong. But when you're 2/10 off the pace and you're scared to drive it any harder because you're already out of control, you're not going to be picking up any time. So we're trying to work on comfort and get the balance close, and then we try to work on driving harder in order to get the speed out of the car. So, we're kind of taking baby steps in that direction.
Bob Pocker, Sporting News. You kind of answered that. I was going to ask if anything that happened last year has impacted, do you feel like you're racing less aggressively this year because of anything that happened last year?
Not that I know of.
Okay. And you had decided to kind of step back from running all the nationwide races and truck races in hopes, I guess, to focus on Cup. How do you feel have you spent more time on the Cup program, and can you also kind of evaluate how your nationwide and truck teams are doing?
Yeah, I've spent a lot more time on the Cup stuff, We've had team meetings every other week at JGR. I've been spending time with Dave in the haulers at the weekends during the race events, talking over different things about how our car was in practice, what things we need to look at to change, qualifying adjustments, race adjustments, all that stuff. So, I could be dialing myself out a little bit too much maybe by talking too much or saying too many things, where before, I'd be off to the next practice and not spending so much time with Dave, where Dave would just kind of surprise me and I'd just drive the thing. So, maybe it's me dialing myself out. I'm not sure. But, there's been some struggles over on the truck side and the nationwide side, unfortunately. We just haven't quite done the things we need to do or that we're capable of at KBM. It's kind of been a struggle to see. We tore up our brand new truck at Daytona within the first run of the race. Martinsville didn't go great for us. We blew up 19 laps in, and last week we ran Jason Leffler out of fuel. So just dumb stuff's been happening on the truck side. I feel bad for Jason because I feel like we haven't quite given him the stuff that he needs to run better. So we got to work harder there, and the guys are well aware of it. Nationwide side, just, it's a new deal. We just started this thing 8 weeks ago, or 8 races ago, I should say, if we're even that far. I'm not sure. So we've got a lot of time to grow here, hopefully, and work ourselves into better equipment, better setups, and better communication between driver and crew chief, between me and Mike, between Kurt and Mike. So, Kurt's only ran one race, and he was running 12th or 13th or something, and we still had another set of tires in the pits for our final pit stop at Texas, but blew up. So, we'll just keep working.
David Newton, ESPN.com. What's tougher to handle, not winning races or not leading laps? And secondly, I'd like to ask, what about Pastrana, and what do you expect from him? And have you seen his yellow bus, and what do you think of that?
The most frustrating point's not leading laps, because if you're not leading laps, you're not contending. You're not in contention to win at all. So that's got to be the most frustrating point, probably, is just not being up front, not capable of being up front. Truex and those guys at MWR have done a phenomenal job this year of turning their program around. They really learned a lot over the offseason and went to work, and they're leading a lot of laps, and they're in contention. They will win, just a matter of when. So, we need to get ourselves up there and start leading those kinds of laps, and we'll be in contention as well too. You don't want to just lead the last lap and win a race and say, oh, we won. That's not really winning, but you did win. So however you want to take that. And Pastrana, is that what you asked? I'm not really aware of the situation very much. I just know he's running his nationwide debut here this weekend, I guess. So hopefully it goes well for him. I know he's got a tutor in Crafton. He's a buddy of mine. So they've been working well and working hard the last few years of getting himself to this point. So hopefully he's ready. Feels he's ready. I have not seen a bright yellow motorhome, so it must not be that bright. Or I'm blind, either way.
Ken Childs, RaceWrap.com. Coming into tonight's race, you won the first couple of these. Is there any kind of matter of pride of getting back into victory lane in Denny's race? And if you can't win it, who do you want to see win it tonight?
It's a fun race. I mean, it is for charity. Although last year I did get my feelings hurt. I wanted to win the thing just as bad as anybody else out here did too, and we led the whole thing, and we were close, but missed out. So, It's a great race to put on. It's very similar to what Tony does with Tony's race at Eldora, which is great to see. Both events bring in a lot of funds for the respective charities, and so that's fun for us drivers to see that, and we get to go out there and hone our skills with some NASCAR type late models. So if I can't win the race, you'd rather see the guy putting on the show win the race, or some other late model guy that maybe hasn't won before.
Okay, we'll go to Hank, Joe Menzer, Doug Demmons, and finish up with the last follow from Bob Pockris.
And Kurz AP. Kyle, Darlington is hyping its race as a return of you and Harvick after your issues there last year. Is it fun when you go back to a place to be part of the pre-race hype, or is it like, come on, get over that was last year?
Yeah, I think it's dumb. It's pretty stupid.
Get a mic over to Joe, please.
Hey, Kyle. Joe Menzer, NASCAR.com. Just wondering if you could give your reaction to the news out of Bristol yesterday, what you think that's going to be like, and can you just talk a little bit about kind of the fine line, I guess, that track owners have to walk between, trying to give the fans what they want and what's best for you guys and the sport as a whole?
Yeah, that's a tough situation for Bruton, for the guys up there at Bristol, anybody, So it's disappointing to see them change a perfectly good racetrack that promotes good side-by-side racing for a lot of the event. I don't put the blame on the racetrack at all. I think we've had some really good races there since it's been repaved that way. Last fall, Joey and I racing each other side by side for the last 15 laps, before we were banging doors in 3 and 4 coming to the checker, and Carl Edwards and me in 2008, running into each other and everything else there. So there's been a lot of great racing at Bristol. It's just not the move the guy out of the way, spin somebody out type atmosphere anymore. And if fans want to see wrecks, then I guess we got to wreck more. So, it's actually good for us drivers so to not have those kinds of things and not have that kind of drama that we've got to deal with. But, if the fans need that in order to buy tickets, then I guess we've got to do what we need to do. So whatever they're doing, I've heard they're grinding the top lane or taking banking out or something like that. I haven't won the last 2 races there because I wouldn't say because it's a new tire, just because we haven't been that great. And I wrecked 25 laps in this spring. But the last couple tire compounds that we had before that were really good. You could race on the bottom, you could turn on the bottom, you could still have good forward bite up off the corners. So I felt like the Goodyear guys maybe changed the way the race played out a little bit and changing the tire. And, they really didn't expect that or want that, but that's how I feel about it.
Kyle, with Talladega coming up next weekend, would you agree with Denny's assessment that it's going to be mostly pack racing, not much 2-car tandem? And if that's the case, then you think we're going to see teams going back to a strategy based on avoiding the big one?
Yeah, I agree with Denny 100%. I think we kind of seen a little bit of that at Daytona. There wasn't much tandem style stuff going on. You would just overheat too fast, and you can't take a chance in overheating and pushing water out and hurting your motor. So it's a long race. It's going to be a 500-mile race. And, the thing about Talladega, the thing about Daytona that we may or may not see in Talladega is Daytona, it was hard to get the outside lane moving. It seemed like once you got single filed out on the bottom was too strong to hold and would hold off the outside lane or any progress from the outside lane. But Talladega's wide enough there could be a middle lane, and guys could shoot up through the middle and really make some evasive moves or aggressive moves sometimes. So hopefully it's a better race and puts on a better show than my opinion of how the Daytona race played out.
Bob Pockris, Sporting News. I was just curious on your nationwide schedule. Is it still the same as it was at the start of the year? And can you kind of go through, like, what are the major races you're doing and what are the major ones Kurt is doing?
KyleBusch.com or KyleBuschMotorsports.com. Whatever the schedule's on, it's on there. All right.
Kyle, thanks a lot. Good luck tonight
Yep.
and the rest of the weekend.
Thanks, no problem.